The recent announcement by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana that 11 billion rand has been allocated to entice public servants to consider early retirement has been met with vehement opposition from some in the education space. The Equal Education Law Centre, which works to advance the right to basic education in South Africa, says both teachers and learners will bear the brunt.
The reality in the education sector is that, according to research that was commissioned by the Department of Higher Education and, at the time, Higher Education and Training itself, about half, 48% of current teachers are expected to profession by about 2030, largely due to reaching retirement age. And so already we've seen teachers being asked actually either to defer their retirement or to come back out of retirement because there's that shortage. So that's the first context, is that there's actually a massive shortage of teachers nationwide.
The Western Cape will be without some 2,400 contract teachers for the next academic year. This amid a budget shortfall of over 3 billion rand over the next 3 years. Provincial authorities say frontline services such as education and health are hard hit.
Provinces will not be getting extra money for public wages, for teachers, for nurses and doctors. Essentially what the national government is doing now, it is essentially forcing down budget cuts on the respective provinces. Essentially the provincial spending envelope is going to remain the same, and while we do welcome the BFI funding as well as disaster management funding that we'll be receiving as a province, it is too little too late. We are still being shortcut in terms of provincial funding.
Trade unions, who picketed outside Parliament on Wednesday, have also cited budget cuts to education as an assault on workers as well as the country's learners.
The budget cuts make it impossible for the government to deliver even the most basic services to the working class. Look, for example, they are cutting the education budget left, right and center. The result of that is that here in the Western Cape, the provincial government have already announced that it is going to have to retrench or to let go 2,400 workers, 11,092 in KwaZulu-Natal. In Gauteng, they are managing the budget by scaling down on the school transport as well as the food that they provide to our kids. We can't be asked to make such choices.
Education activists have also raised alarm bells over bursary funding for students wishing to enter the profession.
Not only is the wage bill not being adequately funded, but in this MTBPS itself, we again got confirmation that the Funza Lushaga bursaries are having massive budget cuts. And the only positions that it looks like will be getting expanded funding are PGCE qualifications, which is itself confusing because actually, because of budget cuts, have actually already been cancelled, or scholarships and bursaries have already been cancelled. But even if that is the case, we of course know that PGCE qualifications are for many people exclusionary because it requires you to already have an undergraduate degree, which if the intention is to be bringing people into the profession, it's not that does that. So the point itself is to say that while early retirement programs may work in certain sectors, it's diametrically opposed to the reality on the ground of the education sector.
The MTBPS says critical skills will be retained, while the entry of younger talent into the public service will be promoted.